Hey everybody, Everyman Prepping here. Hope you're having a great day. And yes, the central banks, the Fed, and the government want to control you. And they're going to try doing this through the issuing of a Central Bank Digital Currency, or CBDC. We're going to go through this article here. It's Epic Times Through the Hedge. And it's from the perspective of the International Monetary Fund and what they think these CBDCs will allow governments to do. And none of it is good for any of us around the world, all populations. It says central bank digital currencies would let governments control what people spend on. And I believe not only what, but when, why, where, how much. They'll be able to turn it on, off. They'll be able to have it expire. They could have full control. And I know you've heard that you control food, you control the people. Well, if you control the money that buys the food, you're going to control the people also. And it's always about control. Continuing on here, we see that the Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Bo Lee, said that a CBDC could improve financial inclusion through programmability. Now, if a big elitist government organization, globalist, is telling you it's going to be financial inclusion, you might as well put on there like the inverse Kramer effect. Do the inverse. It's going to improve financial exclusion. They're not going to do it so more people can participate in the financial sector. They're going to use it to exclude people, and you know that's coming. He said here, quote, by programming CBDC, that money can be precisely targeted for what kinds of people can own and what kind of use the money can be utilized for. For example, food, unquote. So, like I said, think about this. They could say, depending on it, and everybody have their own separate account. We on a blockchain type of technology where everybody will have their own wallet, and then they can individually program people to say, this individual can only shop at XYZ store. You can't buy organic food, but this person can. You can't buy this type of car. You can buy this type of car with that money. You can spend it on this sports team, not that sports team. It could be so minutely programmed because it's so easy to do with software and algorithms. They can control everything you spend money on, where, when, like I said, how much, all that. It's all programmable, and it's all basically taking away the freedom you have for that money that you have earned through your labor. Through all the work that you've done, whatever job it may be, whatever you did to earn that income, they're going to be able to control how it's spent, where, why, and all that. Let's just continue here. There's someone from the Cato Institute here that took up against this, which is amazing because the Cato Institute is not really a freedom-loving organization as you think it would be. But his name is Nick Anthony, and he said on Twitter that the IMF executive comments reveal how a CBDC would allow the government to precisely control what people can and cannot spend their money on, unquote, just like I mentioned. And then you think, well, will my country be doing that? Will that country be doing it? Well, in the IMF's report, which I'll put up here, they surveyed in 2021. They surveyed 81 central banks, and these are all the countries that they surveyed. 90% of these countries said they are going to pursue and issue a CBCD coin. And is your country on the list? Let's see. We got United Kingdom, United States. We got Canada on here. China, of course. China is doing it right now. Saudi Arabia. Almost every major country is in here. Germany, all of Europe's on here. So look on the list. Find your country if it's on here. There's only 8 countries on this list that, statistically won't be doing this. But basically, if your country's on here, they're going to be going for that CBDC coin. So, and I think the Fed coin here in the United States, they're going to shoot for mid next year to, start issuing it. At first, it'll come out as, here are your tax returns on it. Look how great this is. You can just spend this wherever you want, use it online. Look how smooth the transaction is. They're going to ease people into it. Kind of like that old income tax in 1913 was only for the rich people. So they'll ease it in there. And then lastly, we'll continue on here that it says here, another individual from the Bank of International Settlements, that central banks would have absolute control over the rules and regulations that will determine the use of the expression of the central bank liability, and then will also have the technology to enforce those rules and enforce those taken away of your money. People up here are saying, I don't see how Americans will accept this. How can Americans accept this loss of freedom? Well, before 2019, do you think you would have seen Americans submitting, accepting this, not only once, but 4 times. I think we're on the 5th time of this. When that issue came out, Americans were begging for that, in their arms. They were begging for that juice in their system. No matter if it wasn't proven, could have side effects, all that. They didn't care. And not only that, they demonized those people that didn't do that. They wanted to segregate them. They wanted to punish them. They wanted to take away their rights. And that was something the government said. They did exactly what Big Daddy government said. And that's our case study right here. So if you don't think the government, our government here in the United States, could come up with a financial collapse or a financial situation that's so horrible that the general American public would beg for a CBDC. They would beg for the Fed to do this. They're going to ask for it. They're going to demonize those that don't want it. They're going to want to segregate those people. They're going to want to punish them. They want to say they don't get to use it. They can't use it. It will happen. We saw it happen in 2019, and it'll happen again. So how do you fight this? What do we do to combat this? Well, you got to get the word out to as many people as you can that this might happen and the horrible consequences of a federal coin, of a CBDC will, the control that they will lose. So you got to share this article. I'll link it in the description below and in the comment. You got to share this with as many people as you can. Share this video. Share other videos like this. Get the word out to as many people so when it starts coming out, there could be pushback. People will be able to push back and say, we don't want this. We don't accept this. And hopefully there's no pushback from the people. The voices are heard, and that'll happen. As a secondary thing that you can do is you're going to need to go purchase real money. You're going to need God's money, silver and gold. If you have that on hand, you might be transacting in that. If your CBDC is not working to buy that food, well, maybe that store owner, that person will, in exchange, take some silver, take some gold, take some other precious metal, barter some other item. You're going to need to have some silver and gold on hand. Once again, not a financial advisor, not a financial planner, just an opinion, just a suggestion. You might want to have some on hand, even if it's just a little bit, just in case you need to trade it off and buy stuff because you're not allowed to use the new money that the government has issued. So you still have needs that need to be met. So I would have some of that on hand. It's interesting times we're in right now. This is a very scary proposition. Like I said, it will happen here. It's coming out next year, and they will issue it, and we need to have the pushback when it comes out. We need the Americans to stand up to the government and say, no, we need real money. We need a new financial money. We don't need this digital controllable coin. So that's all I have for you right now. So keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.